Welcome to D-Lab. Today on the bench I have a super cool vintage Fender amp. It's a 1961 Champ. Look at this thing. It's actually in great shape. This output transformer though has me concerned. Let's give it an inspection and see what we need to do to breathe life back into the Fender. Well, here's the Champ. Let's give it a visual inspection. There's a control panel. I think there's more dirt on it than rust. The chrome looks to be in good shape. Original power transformer, but not the original output transformer. And it's not in the right spot either. It should be up here where you see those holes. And if you look real close, you can see the model number of this transformer is a S-55Z. I looked that transformer up. This is a push-pull transformer, not a Class A type that came with this amp. So that has to go. Bottom side, you can see this thing is pretty much original. I don't see anything new except for maybe that cap and the cathode resistor. It's got the old original filter caps, and they got warts growing out of the ends of them, right? There's also a lot of fuzziness on the wires, a little bit of corrosion down there, but all in all, she's in great shape. There's your input jacks, the volume pot, and here is what we call the death cap. A lot of you guys have been asking about this cap. We'll cover that later on in the video when I get this thing up and running. But first, I want to make sure the power transformer is okay, because as I was inspecting the tubes, I was looking at this Sovtek 5Y3. You see how dark the glass envelope looks? There's a lot of dark spots in there. This guy's been arcing, and I bet you it was arcing because these caps are leaking and pulling down that power supply. So I'm just going to check the power transformer. I put my meter where you can see it. Now, don't have a heart attack, guys. I'm just bringing up the AC. The rectifier tube is removed. I just want to make sure that the power transformer wasn't damaged with the apparent arcing. Get out of your way there. Use the ground up here. From that apparent arcing on the tube, right? So what do we got here? Yep, 238 volts there. That's good. I'm only running this at about 70 volts applied with my Variac. I just want to make sure that we got voltages here. So my 6 volts is going to be low. Hopefully it's there at all. Alright, it's there. 4.3 volts. And then, of course, across the 5Y3, we should have somewhere around 5 volts, right? We're at 2 because I'm not running it that high. So, anyway, the power transformer is good. That's a good sign. So next, I need to get these filter caps out and inspect the rest of the amp. Alright, so I'm going to pop out these filter caps. Now remember, guys, this thing hasn't been powered in years, so don't write in and say, oh, you didn't discharge the caps. There's nothing to discharge, okay? Man, some powder's flying out of these things. Alright, so there's the main culprits out. You can see the end of that guy. It looks lovely. How's this one look? Oh yeah, man. Nice blisters on every one of them. Alright, so I want to get some fresh caps in. I'm going to put in another rectifier tube, and then we'll power this thing up slow on the Variac and make sure that the DC comes to life. So there's 3 new F&T filter caps installed in the Champ. Word of advice, if you have one of these and you still have these old crusty caps in it, change them, guys. Spend the 10-15 bucks on some new caps. Save your amp from damage. So before I go any further and apply any power to this amp, I want to get this output transformer out of here, okay? So Triode makes these really nice Champ replacement transformers. The mounting base will go right back where the original was. So let's get this beast off of here, get the new one wired up, and then pop in the tubes. We should be able to fire this thing up. Now if you take a look real close, you'll see, kind of hard to see it, but anyway, They didn't use screws when they mounted this new transformer. They just used some master globs of solder. So I'm sure that this thing will just pop off the chassis, but if not, I may have to bring a famous soldering iron into the scene. Yeah, so it looks like if I just get under here and pry this up a little bit, the solder will give way. I sure used a lot of solder to do this maneuver, but I can see it fatiguing, so we'll pop that off. Then I'll clean up the residue, hopefully make the chassis look good. Alright, getting closer. Hearing some little pops. There she goes. Alright, so that solder pretty much popped right off. I was able to clean off that rosin, but unfortunately there's a bunch of scraping when they try to prep the surface for the solder to stick. Here's the new transformer. It's going to sit right there where the original was. This one has taps for 4 and 8 ohms. The owner wants 8 ohms for his champ, so that's how we're going to wire it up. There's a new output transformer in place. These 2 wires will not be used, so I will dress these up later and insulate them, but now let's get this one wired up. Let's just do a quick test. I've got a little temporary dummy load hooked up. Scope is connected across the speaker, leader, audio generator, and of course a variac. So I'm going to bring up the power slowly, monitor the current. We'll look at the scope. Okay, we're at 90 volts applied. Lamp is on. Let's bring up the volume, see what the scope looks like. Remember, this is just a preliminary test to see if I can get a signal through, and I can, but it's pretty distorted. So I still have some caps to change, and I have not verified that 6v6 output tube or the 12x7, but the amp is alive. Well, I think I discovered the source of that distorted sine wave. Look at the gain on our 6v6. Thing's dead. Time for a new tube. We'll check it again. So I found this vintage RCA 6v6. Tests great. I'm going to get that installed in the champ. Right, the RC is installed. I've got plenty of output, but still have a lot of distortion. So I'm guessing we have some bias issues. So the next thing I need to do is get in here and check the resistors for the bias, that capacitor. There's some bad connections down in there. Clean this thing up and recheck. So while I've been testing this amp, I've been hearing some arcing, and I've been trying to locate it. I think I just did. Watch when I rock the power cord. Let's look at the back of the power light. Hear that? Look at there. So this power cord's bad. Better change that before it hurts something else. Alright, so while we're in here changing the power cord out to a 3-prong grounded type, let's look at the death cap. So this is a capacitor that they strapped across the line to ground, supposedly to help with noise reduction, hum reduction with a 2-conductor power cord. You put in the 3-conductor and that guy goes away. The reason they call it the death cap is some of these short, and when they do, it pops fuse and your amp dies and you think you've got a serious problem, but it's just that cap. So I'm going to cut out the death cap, and I'm also going to change this fuse holder. You can see the cap is the wrong one for the housing, so we might as well just get it all out of the way with the new power cord. So I've discovered what was causing that funny swooping of the sine wave. I reversed the primary winding of the output transformer. Now look at the sine wave. See there? It's gone. So it was a matter of phasing. Probably their negative feedback was messing around with me. So keep that in mind if you have that issue. Alright, the amp is about ready to test. You can see our plate full of parts that have been replaced. So I've set my bias with a 680 ohm resistor rather than the 470. That's because the high voltage is at 400 volts, okay? So I'm monitoring across that resistor right now. So if I said, say 26.5 divided by 680 ohms, we're at just under 39 milliamps of current through that output tube. That's kind of pushing the 6v6, but I had to put it at that point to get a good sine wave. The amp is working beautiful, so now I need to get somebody over here and we'll give it a live test.
Hey, Terry!
Yeah, man.
Why do the tweeds sound so damn good and the blackface and silver champs sound like crap?
Obviously, you approve of this one, don't you? Yeah, man. How's she sound clean? Can you turn back a little bit? Yeah, she sounds good.